In this tutorial, we'll learn how to use transparency masks in Krita. Here I have a photo of some flowers. On the layer's docker, I'll click on the small arrow next to the plus button and add a new transparency mask. The transparency mask will appear on the layer's stack, but nothing will change on the canvas yet. You can see here that the color selector is displaying only grayscale colors. That's because the transparency mask is selected. If we select a normal paint layer, then the color selector will return to normal. Let's select the transparency mask and then select the black color. When we draw on the canvas with the black color, it becomes a checkerboard pattern. This pattern is what Krita and other image editor programs use to indicate that an image has a transparent background. In other words, we have made this part of the image transparent. A transparency mask is a non-destructive way to make pixels transparent. If I click on the eye icon in the layer's docker to hide the transparency mask, the pixels become opaque again. This means that the mask doesn't modify the pixels of the photo layer. It opens a hole on the layer only when it's visible. Let's select the white color and try drawing with it. You can see that this erases the effect of the black color. Black is transparent, white is opaque. Let's try the gray color next. If we use this color, the result is neither fully opaque nor fully transparent, but semi-transparent instead. The way this works is that Krita and other drawing programs treat the black and white colors as if they meant the numbers 0 and 1, or 0% to 100%. Then they multiply the opacity of the pixels of the layer by the value of the mask to calculate the final opacity of the layer. This means that transparency masks always make the layer become more transparent, never more opaque. Now that we know this, let's see some things we can do by treating numbers as colors. With the transparency mask selected, we use filters that will apply directly to the mask, altering the numbers. If we use the Invert filter, for example, it's going to invert black and white, which is going to make opaque areas transparent and vice versa. This filter has the default keyboard shortcut Ctrl-I. It's a very common and very useful filter, so it's good to keep that in mind. We can also use blur on the mask if we want, although it's usually better to use a semi-transparent brush instead. Changes to the mask can be undone with undo, which has the keyboard shortcut Ctrl-Z. Something you'll often want to do is make the whole mask become transparent. To do this, go to the Edit menu on the menu bar and click on the Clear option. The keyboard shortcut for this is the Delete key. When we clear the mask, what that actually does is make the whole mask become black-colored. This means we can use the Invert filter we learned before with Ctrl-I to make the whole mask white, fully opaque again. Let me show a way to use this. First, I'll delete the current mask and add a new one. The new mask is fully opaque by default. We can clear it with the keyboard shortcut, which is the Delete key. Then we can select the white color and start drawing on it to make the areas we want opaque. What if we want to make the whole mask semi-transparent? To do this, first we'll click on this tiny square on the toolbar to change the foreground color. I'll click on the HSV tab and change the value to 50%. This is the same thing as 127 RGB, which is gray. Next, I'll click on the Edit menu on the menu bar and click on Fill with Foreground Color. This will fill the whole mask with the gray color we selected. Transparency masks are useful to apply textures to things, in which case you'll want to use a soft brush instead. With a large, soft brush, the texture fades at the edges, which usually looks very nice. Let's add a white background to see how this looks. Like any mask, it's possible to move transparency masks from one layer to another by dragging and dropping them. A mask is always attached to a single layer. If we want to make it affect more than one layer, we need to put those layers into a layer group and then move the mask to the layer group. In this case, it works just like the group was blended normally, and then the mask was applied on top of it all. By default, when we add a transparency mask to a layer, it's added fully white. In other words, nothing is masked by default. However, there is a way to create a mask with an area already masked. Let's go to the toolbox and activate a selection tool. Then we select an area on the canvas. Now if we create a new transparency mask, the transparency mask will make areas outside the selection transparent by default. It's possible to add multiple transparency masks to a single layer. If we do this, the masks multiply each other, creating more transparent areas. It's not possible to use one transparency mask to cancel the effects of the other mask. If you need to do something like that, use clipping masks instead. In Krita, fill layers have internal transparency masks. If we select an area on the canvas and then we add a fill layer, then only the selected area will be filled. Although this seems intuitive, the reason it works like this is because fill layers have internal transparency masks. While the fill layer is selected, we can paint on it with black and white, just like on a normal transparency mask. Filter layers also have internal transparency masks. Although they can be useful, they're just basic transparency blending. Depending on the filter, you may want to use something more complex. For example, if you have a pixelate filter, you may want the mask to be pixelated as well. That would require a clipping mask instead. It's possible to apply a transparency mask on a layer. Doing this deletes the transparency mask and modifies the pixels of the layer. This is generally not necessary, but it's something that you can do. To do this, right-click on the transparency mask in the layer stack and click on Split Alpha right as alpha. Alpha is what we call the opacity value of the pixels. It's also possible to do the opposite and take the alpha values of a layer and move them to a transparency mask. To do this, right-click on the layer, click on Split Alpha, and click on Alpha into Mask. If we do this, the layer becomes fully opaque because all the transparency information is moved into the mask. We can use this technique to make two layers share the same alpha values. To do this, we create a transparency mask from a layer's opacity, and then with the mask selected, we click on this button to duplicate it. Then we move the duplicated mask to the other layer and apply them. Applying the transparency mask this way replaces the alpha values of the pixels, which means pixels that were fully transparent before become opaque. These pixels will always have a black color because Krita discards color information of fully transparent pixels. If you want to apply the transparency mask the way it looks on the canvas, right-click on the layer and click on Flatten Layer. Another method in this case would be to turn the layer's opacity into the current selection. To do this, select the semi-transparent layer and go to the menu bar, then click on Select Opaque, Replace. Now we can select the other layer and simply create a transparency mask, which will be initialized using the currently selected pixels. One interesting detail is how this works with filter layers. If we create a transparency mask from a filter's layer alpha, the result should look completely different. It looks the same right now because of a bug in Krita. If we hide and display the filter layer, then it shows the layer correctly, which looks completely different. On the other hand, if we apply the transparency mask, then it works as we would expect. The reason for this is that filter layers are created with the blend mode set to copy by default. This copy blend mode is from the MISC category. If we change the layer's blend mode to normal, then it works as you would expect. The reason filter layers are in copy blend mode by default is a bit complicated. All layers in Krita represent images, which is why they all can use blend modes. For filter layers, that image is the result of applying the filter to the image below the filter. The internal transparency mask of the layer controls how the filter is blended with that image. And for most filters, this works just like the transparency mask, but there is an exception. If a filter manipulates the alpha values directly, then changing the mask inside the layer doesn't have the same effect as using a transparency mask. For example, I'll add a filter layer here that will invert the alpha values of the image below it. You may notice that the corners have become black for some reason. That's because they were fully transparent. When blending layers, some programs will discard color information of pixels that are fully transparent, especially if they are using an optimization called premultiplied alpha. That's because if the alpha is 0 and you multiply the RGB values by 0, you will get 0, 0, 0, which is the black color. Observe that this layer makes the center transparent. Since the center was opaque in the background, that means it's modifying the alpha in ways that normal blending can't do. Because in normal blending, alpha can only increase, never decrease. If we change the blend mode from copy to normal, then the filter stops working the way it should because it can't replace the alpha values anymore. This is why it needs to be in the copy blend mode. The copy blend mode just means that no blending is done at all, and the pixel data from the filter layer is used as is, replacing whatever was under it on the layer stack. If we draw on this filter layer using the black color, it erases the effect of the filter. There is one last function in the Split Alpha submenu that most people will never need to use in their lives. If we right-click on a transparency mask and go to Split Alpha, we have this option here that reads Save Merged. If we click on it, Krita lets us choose somewhere to save a PNG file. This looks interesting, but the problem is that if we save a PNG normally through the export option in the file menu, the result seems to be exactly the same. What is the difference between these two files? To understand this, we need to open these images back into Krita. If we open a PNG we exported normally into Krita, move its alpha into a transparency mask, and then hide the transparency mask, we can see that pixels that were fully transparent have become black. This happens because when Krita was exporting the fully composited layer stack, the color data for fully transparent pixels had already been discarded. On the other hand, if we open the PNG that we saved merged, and then we repeat the same process, we will see that it retains the original color even in the fully transparent pixels. In this case, Krita didn't composite the layer stack. It simply took the color data of the layer and the alpha values from the mask and mixed them together in the PNG. In most cases, there is no practical difference between these two ways to save PNG files, since it doesn't really matter which color fully transparent pixels are. The only difference will be the fact that one file will be smaller than the other. That's because if all the fully transparent pixels have the same black color, the image compression algorithm can compress more data, which means a smaller PNG file. However, in rare cases, there are software that use the alpha channel of an image for purposes other than just blending the image. For example, let's imagine that we're developing a game and this photo will be used as a texture in our game. Our game has 3D lighting, which means the texture will be rendered darker or lighter depending on how much light there is around it. However, for this photo, we want to make some spots appear always bright no matter how much environmental lighting there is, so it looks like it's glowing in the dark. To do this in a graphic shader program, we need to know which pixels are supposed to glow. This means the shader will need two textures, the photo texture with the colors of the pixels and a separate texture containing only the glow information. If we store the glow information as the alpha channel of the photo, then we only need one texture. This is an optimization technique used in game development called channel packing. That's why this option exists in Krita. This is how you use transparency masks in Krita. Thanks for watching. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and see you in the next video.